Well, greetings. In this video, I want to talk to you about the body count and why having a high body count is no indication of anything of value. I think it's really more of an indication of your overall delusion and perhaps indication that you are possessed of demons. Now, in the whole game and seduction community, a lot of these teachers talk about having a high body count or a high score. And I think really what's happening is there's this quagmire that the promiscuous women and the promiscuous men all live in. And they think that they're racking up something of value when they're sleeping with all these random folks. And they're just getting caught in this swamp of sexual depravity. And I hate to sound so judgmental. I guess it does sound judgmental when I say it that way, but that's the truth about it. There's our sexuality is not a game, and a lot of people in this industry talk about that. I think I'll do a separate video on that. I'm going to do a separate video where I really go into that. But the reason that you don't want a high body count is it makes it harder for you to be loyal to one particular individual. There's been a graphic that's going around lately about, the more sexual partners a woman has, the higher the odds of divorce for her. And I think this goes back to biblical principles. This idea that a woman should be a virgin on her wedding night, it's important. And I really think, I think the higher the body count is in men, I think the more likely it is for them to be less loyal in the relationship as well. I don't know if there's statistics on that for men. The more women a man has slept with prior to marriage, does that mean that that the odds of divorce are higher for him as well? Perhaps. I think it's the same. I think really it's the same. I think if the more you sleep with the more bodies that you sleep with, the more mixed your consciousness, your soul, your energy, your vitality comes with other people. I think that when you have sex with somebody, the two of you are as close together as anybody can be without actually being the same person. And you're breathing together with that individual. The two of you are very close. Your chakras are, lined up to one another. Of course, that's in the regular, I guess, missionary position, but still, even with different positions, the lower chakras are still in line with each other. So I think this is where this karmic mixing comes in. And I think our Heavenly Father gave us sex as a great, wonderful thing for bonding, for health and for longevity, for healing, and then of course also for reproduction. And I think if you use it properly as God wanted us to use it properly, and there is such a thing as sexual purity, I think you'll be in a lot better shape. But if you are taking sex and using it as some sort of drug delivery device, if you're using it as some way to sort of cover up your own sense of emptiness or fear or heartache, whatever it is, if you're using sex like another drug, if you're using drugs, period, you should stop. But sex is often, I'll argue that sex is the ultimate drug. It's kind of the ultimate drive, and it's usually a lot of times kind of the elephant in the room, or the thing that's hiding there without other people knowing about it, or acknowledging it. So the sex force it's our survival. People say, well, motherhood is the strongest urge. I'm like, yes, true, but that's sort of a sub division of the overall goal of reproduction. So I think it's really important for people to consider, hey, what am I trying to prove here? Having I know that in high school and maybe in college, there can be certain women who maybe seem attractive to young men, and they want to get together, these young men, and maybe joke about it. And if one guy seems to be successful in having sex with her, then somehow he gets some sort of ego boost for that. No, don't go down that route. I mean, really, I think you should take dating, throw it in the dustbin. Look to find a matchmaker. Look to find somebody that can actually help you find a spouse, and go through the process. Don't try to approach marriage through the swamp, which is what a lot of people do with dating. They get together, they hook up, and they live some sort of sitcom lifestyle where everybody's just together for comedy and laughs and giggles, but like nothing actually ever happens. It's just stupid, mindless entertainment, and people wind up living their lives that way. They're too afraid to take a shot, to like say, hey, I like you. Let's get married. Let's go for it. Let's make a family together. Let's build something cool. Let's build a legacy, right? No, too much today. It's hang out, have fun, and hook up. No, that's no way to approach marriage. That's no way to approach a long-term commitment. I think what you ought to do, if you're in that quagmire, that morass of sexual depravity, of being promiscuous, and being being the whoremonger, or the whore, or being the fornicator, you fornicator. Uh, if you're in that pool right now, it's real simple. You just stop. You say, hey, Heavenly Father, I don't want to do this anymore. And guys, there are sexaholic anonymous meetings out there. Sex is addictive, but it should be addictive with your husband or your wife, your long-term partner, the individual that you made a commitment to. The problem with just hooking up with people is you're marrying people and divorcing them. Sex is marriage. Sex is glue. Sex is the biological marriage. The physical, spiritual, mental marriage. That's what we see when we see people going down the aisle. That needs to precede the biological. If you get the friendship, the sense of soul unity down, and you still have attraction for that person, that individual, then do it after you have made a lifetime commitment. But don't think that you are super cool if you've got a high body count, especially if you're a woman. I think it's so important. If you're in high school or know somebody in high school, have them watch this video, because if you're a young man in high school, think, oh, I want to deflower this young woman. Don't do it, because you are hurting her in the long run, and you're hurting yourself. It seems fun in the moment because there's all these chemicals, and you're young and you don't know anything, and odds are your parents don't know anything either and didn't teach you anything. If you even have a relationship with them, you know, you'd be lucky if you have even a quarter of a parent, let alone half a parent. And I mean that from the perspective of mommy and daddy divorced when I was little, and daddy doesn't live here anymore. So we've got daddy number 2, daddy number 3, daddy number 4, or maybe it's the other way around. It's a freaking morass, a mess. But I don't want to get into that in this video. I want to cut it here and say that if you want to avoid all this and have a good, long-term, happy marriage, get my book, The Sex Education You Never Received. It's available at beyond-dating.com. And post a comment below, like or subscribe, and we'll see you soon. So I'll end by saying the light in me honors the light in you. Peace.